Awesome. So we're going to pick up where we left off yesterday. And some of it may be review, some of it may be new. But the more we review it, the more it lands, the more it integrates into our system. So Somatic Sales, the art of sacred connection, the art of sales through presence, through seduction, really embodying that masculine and feminine within, the presence, the stillness, the confidence, the security, the authority, right? Masculine, the seduction, the play, the possibility, the faith, the dream, the vision, the creation, the desire, playing with the feminine. And so, as we shared yesterday, sales the somatic way is not about pushing, convincing, or performing. It's about presence. It's about the art of being so attuned to your body and truth that your coherence becomes magnetic and connection then becomes inevitable. In this module, you'll learn how to embody sales as an act of listening, curiosity, and empathy, and how to allow truth to reveal itself naturally, both in yourself and in your client through questions. So review Somatic Sales, Section 1, presence over performance. The somatic way of selling is rooted in being, is rooted in deep presence, safety, deep reverence for the human you are speaking to. When you are deeply connected to your body, your truth and offer, your authenticity, you've done that inner work, you've aligned your energy, you're coherent, your energy radiates that integrity, and that integrity also is magnetic. It's that integrity that allows people to come into your coherent field and allows for their nervous system to relax. This is the coherent field is what naturally calls in aligned clients, opportunities, because it's grounded in authenticity, not performance. And notice how your body feels right now when you imagine sales as a practice of listening, deep listening, curiosity, empathy, rather than persuading. And I ask here, what if sales and coaching is just a practice in deep presence? Can you feel the energetic shift? I know that for me, my nervous system feels way more relaxed knowing that showing up, the work of showing up is really just listening, not trying to convince or persuade. The foundation of somatic sales, the mindset shift from convincing to connecting. Invitation. Treat every new connection as an opportunity to plant a seed of connection. You're helping them connect to their higher vision, their healing, love, money, freedom, opportunity, possibility. Bring your best self forward. Practice genuine curiosity about the person you're speaking to. Your presence is a gift. Their attention is an opportunity to transform someone's life. And this, I would say, pertains to every new connection that you now make from this day forward as you embody your CEO identity, as you embody being this business professional, this expert authority in the field that you're here to show up in. From the beginning of the conversation, lead with that authority, yet also being curious, empathetic, relatable. But this is how we're going to do that. Section 2, sales as leader, listening as leadership. Every sales is an interaction, a sacred practice in deep listening. In this space, you're not performing, you're facilitating transformation through a flow of discovery questions that pulls out of the prospective client their higher vision, their potential, their current limitations, frustrations, and fear. When we approach sales through presence, we transform what could be a transactional experience and into an energetic exchange of self-awareness and possibility. And this is felt in the field. This presence, your presence, is golden because it allows for the prospective client's nervous system to relax and their guard to soften. So, practicing active listening, genuine curiosity, compassion is key to Somatic sales psychology. When you hold the somatic vibrational field that is of safety, that is of nourishment, care, possibility, that is what is a stronger form of communication than just words by themselves. And I'm sure here how I see many healers, creators, and facilitators, especially those from the New Age of spiritual community. And that could really extend to just people that haven't really studied business or sales in general. They're focusing on branding, expression, authenticity, but not sales psychology. And this is very common with artists, these types of creatives. You know, they've learned to show up, they've freed their expression, but they haven't learned to quite listen to their audience and truly market and sell. And obviously, um, this applies to even facilitation in general. Like, the best facilitators are the best listeners. If you're facilitating to make it about you and, you know, the Amy show, the Kelsey show, my show, that's not what it's about. It's really about the person you're serving. And so this starts even in the discovery call, in the discovery conversations that you're going to be having in the DMs or in person. You know, everything that you're going to learn around starting conversations in the DMs can be applied to in-person conversations. The same, you can use the same script. And yeah, as I shared, like many times when we're on this healing journey, healers, creatives, these types of intuitive, I guess, business entrepreneurs, because they're just writing out intuition. They've done the healing for themselves and they've learned to express themselves, but they forgot the most important part of sales and marketing, which is that the audience, the client, wants to be seen and heard and understood. And your marketing content, your copy should reflect this. In your sales calls will be more potent when you embody deep listening and curiosity for them. And I would say even your facilitation as well will be more potent when you do this. And this is great for you, great news, because your nervous system gets to sit back and relax. Many times when we overgive, overshare, overspeak, it's coming from a place of control, a place of insecurity, actually, or nervousness, where our nervous system isn't fully grounded. So then we speak or try to just say or do or give just to make the situation, the energy feel a little better. But actually, that's not actually coming from the highest truth of, like, when we're in our power, we're actually acting and playing out a more strategic form of sharing and giving. And more than anything, we're deeply listening. And that is the medicine, the deep listening, the presence, because that's what allows for us to become a safe haven, a guide, and really demonstrate our power and depth as a coach. Review. So every coaching call, even discovery calls, follow this flow: discovery, transformation, integration. In the case of a discovery call, the reality is that we are qualifying and seeing how aligned the client is with our offer. You know, if the outcome that we're promising is what they desire, if we have what they need in order to get what they desire to get from A to B. And we're also qualifying them to make sure that they are, you know, they fit the type of person that we're speaking to in regards to, you know, what their pains are, what their desires are, what their blind spots are, and also like their availability around time, how much money they can invest, and just overall their commitment level. This is really important too, because we don't want to sign people that aren't committed, or we don't want to pressure people into buying something and then them in the end, you know, not actually committing, not doing the work, and then making it about us when it was really about them as well. So we want to hold that power too of, like, we're just as much as they're qualifying us, we're also qualifying them. And this is what it will look like. So during the discovery phase, find out what attracted them to you. You know, if it's in person, like, why are they smiling at you? Or, you know, like, maybe you've already met them before and are they coming over and say hi? Find out what attracted them to you. Also, if they like your comment, like your page, follow you, same principle. Message them, reach out, find out what attracted them to you. Find out what their desires, aspirations are, what their pains, their fears are. You want to empathize, listen, relate. if they're talking about something personal, feel, like this is a lot of this is intuitive, and we're probably already doing this, but we're breaking it down so those that maybe it's not so intuitive for can learn from it, and also so that we see what we're doing and we can also refine and make it better. So we share something personal too, right? If they're sharing a personal story around, some hardship that they're going to, especially with intangible products that like the work that you ladies are offering, or you're offering healing and different types of transformation that maybe is more intangible. It's not like, okay, you see exactly the money um, or the number, etc. You can make it tangible by creating like the proper intake forms and having people rate from like 1 to 10. That is a way to make intangible tangible, which is very valuable, because this is a great way to like see where people are at and ask them these questions too. Like you have an intake form, but you can also bring those same questions to a discovery phase. Like on a scale from 1 to 10, how happy are you in your relationship, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, or um, or on a scale of not never to very often, how often do you wake up feeling energetic and um, with full of life force energy, and people can rate themselves, oh, from like never to not to sometimes to very often, and that's some ways that you can start to quantify what you're offering as well, which is a great way to ask questions, because when you start to place numbers and quantify these topics or these concepts that are intangible, it makes you the authority. It shows that you aren't just like talking about it from, you know, like just an idea or fluff or your heart or inspiration, but you've actually taken the time to create a system around it as well. And so it shows authority to have these types of questions. And then, yeah, sharing something personal is super potent. Even more potent, share a relatable client success story that perhaps, they started in the same place that this person is in. And, you can share like some evidence of how this person transformed their life. And of course, this will build as you build also your clientele and experience repertoire. Help your client connect to their higher vision, right? In the discovery phase, you want to learn what their desires are. You want to talk about what their future timeline look like. You want to ask, where would you like to see yourself in 90 days, in relation to love, money, lifestyle, wellness, depending on your specific niche. Where do you see yourself in 1 year, 3, 5, 10 years? You can also share a relatable client success story. Again, placing these, starting to think in this way where, oh yeah, so and so, went through this process. And you think about, if you've ever done a webinar or watched like a marketer video, like they're doing this constantly. They're sharing something personal, or they're sharing a client story, and this is all part of a strategy to build trust. The more they have these evidence-based stories and mythos um, then the prospective client can listen to, it's like it makes it that much more real, that much more possible when they hear these stories of other people. And that also activates this higher vision, this future timeline, and it's shifting their mindset into seeing what's possible. And then, yeah, we always want to, like I mentioned last week, this or that thinking, where they've been, where they want to go, um, where they're at, where they want to go, what are their current challenges, where they could be without those challenges. So even it's as part of the discovery phase, yeah, asking them, helping them remember where they've been, what hasn't worked, how long they've been working for at a specific outcome. This is a great way to make them recognize the opportunity cost of not joining the program. For example, like you're talking to someone and you're like, how long have you been desiring intimate partnership? Oh my God, like 2, 3 years. Wow. Like, well, what if I could tell you that in 6 months and a year, you're going to be able to attract several different romantic possibilities, and you're going to be dating? Um, how is it going to feel to be in that version of you that has these options? And what's it going to feel like to if you don't do anything? How much more guilty or shameful or hard are you going to be on yourself, say you don't do that? And so there's ways to play with the future with the past to help them see what they're losing out by not taking action today. And this is why it's coaching, right? Because we are coaching someone to be a better version of themselves, to take risks, calculated risks that, you know, if we're in integrity is going to make their life better as long as they put in the work too, because obviously we can't only promise like we can't be their savior, right? We can't promise them something without their side of them, the part of them committing to the work, or their side, them actually being fully invested as well. And then we want to point out blind spots in the discovery stories, like, you know, where they may be lacking info, the right method, right technology system, etc. And just kind of poking at them, you know, in a calculated but caring, curious way. So then we're going to go into the transformation phase. Just make sure we're all good here. Just checking something. Transformation phase, inspire them to see where they could go if they follow your method, you know, transform their mindset, shift their perspective, collapse time, show them how they could get faster, better results. Teach them to aim higher. Maybe they're just trying to make 2K a month. Well, what if you could make 5K? What if you make 10K, 20K? How would that feel in your body? You know, ask them, help them expand their capacity to receive, to expand their range of possibility. You know, everyone's in different places in the journey. You know, maybe they haven't had a relationship in 5, 10 years and you're wanting, you know, imagine how it's going to feel to have a partner, or how much, imagine how it's going to feel to be dating again, or imagine how it's going to feel to love yourself and love your body, to feel, you know, on purpose. You know, you want to help them paint that picture, see and feel that reality, because the truth is the more that you can bring them into this higher future version of themselves and help, you know, guide them to be in that timeline frequency, when it comes to then investing, it's going to be a lot easier, because now they're going to be acting from their higher self versus the current self. The current self is in lack and scarcity, fear, is like pain, etc. The future version of themselves that took the program is, you know, is hopefully, you know, feeling the transformation, feeling a lot more connected, a lot more successful, a lot more confident, etc. You get the picture. And then in the transformation phase, we want to expect that there's going to be objections. You know, that's natural. It's going to come up. So we can pre-frame objections, meaning like by framing it before they even bring it up, it's like addressing the objection that they might bring up for, like, without, you know, for them. And so it kind of softens it. So as I said, you know, when they connect to their higher timeline, you could say something like, well, in 6 months from now, when you're making that extra 10K a month because your brand, this is an example, obviously, for my work, because your branding and marketing system is converting into consistent sales, how are you going to feel? Is that version of you going to be happy that she decided to invest 4K in growing her business? You can take that example and apply it to your specific offer and transformation/outcome, and educate them on what's possible with the right system. You know, educate them on your method and what's going to happen. Paint that picture of who they're going to be, their identity, once they implement the system. You don't have to tell them about, like, oh, we're going to meet one, you know, all of these details about what time, or what the phases are, the method, the exact methodology. You know, depending on the person, they could be really interested in certain, you know, practices like EMDR or tapping or breath work. So you can feel that out. But most times people are actually buying the identity they're going to have after the transformation. They're buying the outcome. So focusing on that, leading with that, is more valuable than like trying to sell them on like your perceived value based on how many calls you're going to do and how many times you're going to meet. All of that is important, but more important is the outcome, the identity that you're selling them. And help them make a decision from their future self. Keep coming back to that. You could pretty much take any objection and turn it around intuitively, and we'll show you that as well. I'll show you that. Integration phase, this is the last part of the call. Pitch the offer. This is where you're going to present the offer, present the price, and we're going to go into the pitching of the offer next class, where I'm going to break down exactly the script you're going to want to have for this particular part of the call, which is essentially the last part of the call. And you know it's the last part of the call when the client is pretty much, so what's the price? What like you can tell that they're really hot, they're really excited. You can tell that from their energy, they're really into it. Then you pitch the offer, and the offer has its own script. So we're gonna save that for next class. But I'm giving you today the overarching kind of journey, and then we'll be breaking it down. You're gonna handle objections, like I said, align them to their higher vision, emphasize the importance of committing, saying yes to the desired outcome. Like for example, if they have a price objection, you can say, well, putting the price aside, do you feel that this product, this offer is going to be the answer to your problems? Getting that answer is so crucial. If they say no, then it doesn't matter what price it is, because they're not going to be interested, because they don't actually think that you're going to give them the desired outcome. And if they say no, this is an opportunity for you to ask, okay, what is it that you don't think you're going to get, so that you can inform them, educate them better on the offer. This is similar to gauging the level of certainty that they have, making sure that they understand the value of the product, that they are clear on the outcome they are investing into. Offer more info if needed. Again, if it's a price objection, just get them to commit to the desire. Are you committed to making this a reality? Are you committed to getting XYZ outcome result? Find out if they're even committed to getting the thing. And then, then offer the price, because obviously we know if they're, at the end of the day, if they get what they're wanting, that they're about the value, it's invaluable, right? It's like, it's hard to really put a number, because some of these transformations, like, could change someone's life. How are you gonna, you could put a value on like finding your sacred union, but it's invaluable, in some ways. And yeah, gauging if they're all in outside of the financial investment. You can also play with numbers, create scarcity around the offer, maybe offering them a special price, payment plan, or bonus if they close today within the next 24 hours. Pressure does help people make a decision. And honestly, if someone can make a decision in 1 day, 2 days, it's much better than in a week, 2 weeks. If someone tries to give you that like objection, I need to sleep on it. Well, then find out, what is it that you need to sleep on? Is there any information that you aren't certain around? Like finding out what they need to know in order to go to sleep feeling better. And also, a lot of times, sometimes people say, oh, I need to talk to my partner. Well, who would they be? Like, you can ask them like, well, you can say something like, well, isn't your partner going to respond? What way do you, well, I guess you could say it's like, what way do you think your partner is going to respond, or how are they going to treat you when they know, when they see you XYZ, certain outcome, when they see you thriving in your business, when they see you happy because you're in your body and you're connected to your sensuality and your beauty, like painting that picture for them, empowering them to make that choice for themselves. Why are they, usually when they say, oh, I need to sleep on it, oh, I need to talk to my partner, these are just excuses to delay their decision making. And we want to empower them to feel into their body right now, to feel into that future timeline right now, to feel into the version of themselves, that took that risk, but it paid off. It paid off. And then we want to close the sale, take the payment, offer high ticket first, and then if they can't do the high ticket, offer either a payment plan or low ticket offer next. And speak to them when they say that if the price is high, if they have sticker shock, find out, oh, what is it? Is it the sticker shock? Is it just that it's too high? Is it gonna like take food off the table? Are you not gonna be able to make rent? Or is it just kind of a stretch? Well, if it's just a stretch, maybe that stretch is it's gonna be good motivation for them to get that fire in their ass to make things happen. And we want to share that with them. We want to, we want to talk to them, change their perspective, change their mindset around that. And then we open the relationship when we once you take a payment, or you know, in some cases you could be like, okay, what if we just take a lower payment? What can you put right down right now, just so that you honor the commitment and you open your field to this new timeline today? Maybe you give them a special option to do a special kind of deposit. This is last case scenario. And then once they take a payment, once they book, once they're in, you open the relationship, you open the container, and you book that first session, and you get the ball rolling with them. You celebrate them, that they just made a huge investment, they just made a huge choice. You want to celebrate them, celebrate yourself too for getting another client. Thank God, thank them, thank the universe, and be in that celebratory and gratitude as well. Okay, you'll coming back to this question: how is this lesson in sales landing in your body? How ready or not ready do you feel to take people through a discovery call? This is just a self-reflection question. I don't expect you to be super ready quite yet, but I'm hoping that you are feeling more and more ready. And hopefully, especially at the end of the call. Why selling is a sacred service. True sales is not about you, it's about them. It's the moment when your healed, empowered self becomes a vessel for another person's awakening. You've done the work, you know who you are, you feel grounded in your worth. Now it's time to turn your attention outward towards service, curiosity, and deep empathy. This is where selling becomes sacred. You're not taking, you're giving transformation, a pathway to reach the person ready for it. Core Somaticka principles of sales. Once again, connection over conversion. Metrics matter, but they are not your mission. Always think to yourself, what's in it for them? This is key. Whenever you're speaking to a prospective client, just think, what's in it for them? Speak to what's in it for them. Energy communicates connection over conversion. Exactly. It's like when you're thinking about what's in it for them, when you're not coming in with some agenda, like it's very felt, especially in the work that we do, especially with healing energy work, when we're working with people with trauma. And if we want to be a trauma-informed coach, trauma-informed facilitator, we want to be conscious of the fact that if we come with a strong kind of agenda or energy, they're going to feel it. And this is probably going to create more aversion rather than conversion. So our energy wants just to communicate connection, safety, curiosity, empathy, lean back, just be present. Every conversation is a chance to plant a seed, open the door, or illuminate a truth. Not every connection becomes a client, and that's okay too. That's sacred as well. Stay unattached, stay curious. Every interaction is medicine. As I shared, every conversation is data for you to learn about yourself, to learn about your prospective clients, to learn about their desires, about their doubts. You could literally take a discovery call, and even if they don't buy, by you honing in on their objections, studying their objections, studying their desires, studying the words that they shared, now you have literally a new marketing content post where you can literally speak to that person's objections and post about them. And now you're speaking to many people who might have been thinking that same objection. And so every interaction is medicine, is data. Even rejection is medicine, is data, is a lesson, an opportunity. Sometimes we learn more from them than the ones that just flow with ease. And it's like, oh, this person booked without even trying. Well, great, but I didn't learn. That was just, was that luck? Was that strategy? We don't know. Whereas when we comes to the objections and the rejections, we're getting a real opportunity to grow and learn, and that is sacred too. Embody the rule number 2, or core principle number 2, embody the coach, not the friend. I know this is one that really touches me, and I'm sure it touches you as well, because especially in community, this can get kind of blurry, but your clients will feel the safest when you lead with clarity and authority. Your clients want a lead to be led, that's why they're out there searching, seeking a certain answer, a certain solution, certain outcome. From the very first message or conversation, you're holding space as a guide, not as a peer seeking validation. And I know this because this is one of my shadows that I had to work on a lot. Like when we meet someone, we want them to like us, so then we start acting and speaking from our inner child versus the actual authority and coach that we are. So from this day forward, if this message lands for you, you are now going to be speaking, moving, and identifying as a professional coach, guide, authority, and not as a peer. You can still be humble, you can still be relatable, you can still be loving and nurturing, but you can have authority. Because when we overgive or over nurture without clear boundaries, that's how we unintentionally fall into the friend zone. And then people, will start to reach out for free coaching. And then we're like, oh, we got in this conversation, we got into this relationship where we feel like we have to give in order to receive their love, their attention, appreciation. And then boom, we're playing out our shadow versus actually stepping into leadership. And when people receive your energy for free or coaching for free, they don't value it as much. They're not gonna, they may take your advice and do something about it. They may not. People that invest into coaches and teachers, that's who they're gonna be listening to, because that energetic investment is there, that them giving you permission to teach them, to coach them. And so the practice is, the next time you feel the impulse to coach or teach in a casual chat, pause, and instead respond with curiosity. Tell me more about that. Not just a casual chat, on your discovery calls, every conversation. Rather than trying to go straight and give them the answer, curiosity replaces control, and it keeps the energy reciprocal and open, and it places you in the authority. It keeps you in the coach zone, not the friend zone. Number 3, empathy before strategy. Empathy opens the door, strategy guides the path. So especially with objections, especially when people are feeling sensitive, especially if people are emotional. Of course, we want to be strategic, we want to be the coach, but we want to be empathetic too, because this is going to go a lot further if we're just trying to coach them, maybe they like that, maybe, but most likely not. Especially I feel like with the women that I work with, or being in women's work where there's a lot more sensitivity and intuition, empathy goes a long way. So we're going to use this LEA method. The LEA method, the acronym stands for L for listen, fully receive what your client expressing. E, empathize, feel what they feel, let them know you understand. And A, agree. Agree with them. You don't have to agree with necessarily what they're saying, but you can agree to agree with them. Honor their truth, even if they don't share the same truth. Agreement doesn't mean compliance, it means recognition. And this method actually comes from relationship coaching, because this is one of the fundamental things, methods, practices you want to have also in relationship. When something comes up, listen, empathize, agree to agree with them, and provide that space for them. And then gently lead with your perspective or your client's transformation as mirrors with what's possible. So you don't have to, maybe their truth is that they can't afford it. Okay, I hear you. As who you are right now doesn't feel that you could afford it. But does the version of you that invested into her business, or that invested into herself, that is now living out XYZ, what does she think? Can she afford it? Can she not afford it? This is the strategy part. And then section 4, boundaries, energy, and reciprocity. As soulful leaders, we must remember every time we overgive, we communicate to the universe or that other person that we don't trust or deserve to receive. Your energy is sacred currency. Protect it with discernment and devotion. And act, speak, guide, influence like a pro. You are a professional. That's why you are here, because you have invested in yourself, because you believe in your business, in your path, your career, because you are a professional. You're going after the skills, the system, the tools that you need to run your business like a professional. And I see you as a professional, and I'm going to hold you to that. And marketing and selling isn't about grinding or hustling. It's about consistency and coherence. That's why in Somaticka we teach the embodiment piece. We teach I'm teaching you how to be in your embodiment, how to be in your own essence, be your own brand, and be consistent in your marketing and sharing with the world, authentic as well, so that it's just part of you being you, and that consistency builds that coherence, builds that trust, and is magnetic. The masculine structure and discipline creates the feminine for creates the container for your feminine to fully thrive. When your boundaries and discipline get in check, or when you learn to tap into and truly embody your inner CEO identity, your inner pro, boss witch, magnetic branded marketer identity, your whole reality starts to change. And you remember you are a powerful creator and leader. You're a pro, you're mastering your energy, you're mastering marketing. And sales open the door for your spiritual self to actually thrive and create more transformation in the world. Each sale is the exchange point, the moment your energy and your client's desire meet in sacred reciprocity. Each sale opens the door to life-changing transformation. Yeah, each sale is a portal to transformation and ascension. Each sale offers you an opportunity to serve even better. Because we know from the law of sacred reciprocity, when the more we give, the more we receive. Same with the other person. The more they give, the more they receive. The more they invest, the more they're going to receive. Every investment offers your client an opportunity to expand, heal, and transform and up level their life. When a client invests, they're not just paying you, they're anchoring their next level of embodiment. So understanding that, like, there is an activation behind the investment of this money. Literally, them investing is activating them in different ways. It's sending different signals in their body. Yes, their nervous system is going to respond, but as we know, transformation doesn't happen in the comfort zone. It happens at the edge of our growth potential. And so the investment is the catalyst, that putting down that money, that energetic sacrifice is the catalyst of them anchoring in and really stepping into their next level of embodiment. And your job is to truly to hold their hand and help them feel safe and secure as they make this very healthy investment. So thinking of it as this way, you're supporting them and making this investment. You're their midwife and making this investment. You're helping them see why this investment is the best choice. And unless they're adrenaline junkies, their nervous system will likely be triggered in the investment and expansion. Like I said, some people love adrenaline. I mean, to a certain degree, to be an entrepreneur, you kind of have to know and understand and probably like a little bit of adrenaline because there is some risk involved. And if you think about your life and who you are and who you've been, you can probably see, yeah, you like adventure, you like excitement. There is some eroticness and pleasure in playing in that field. So that's why we're here. But depends on your specific niche and area. If you are more in a healing space, um, maybe they're not seeking that adrenaline, and so holding more of that steadiness, that safety, that caring, nourishing archetype is going to be more supportive in guiding someone like that into an investment. And as I said, your job is to midwife their transformation with love, while firmly and seductively keeping them anchored in their highest truth, their higher version and self. They're going to want to continue to come back to what they know, to and act and make a decision from their current state. And our job is to help them make the decision from their future version, from the version of themselves that did invest in self, and really hold that, see them as that. And us too, like, hold ourselves in the energy of that person that's not like overconfident and like, oh, I already sealed this sale in the bag. That's not the energy. That's a little too arrogant. It's more of like the version of you that knows how powerful, how potent your offer is, and how potent and valuable the energy you're extending to someone, and the knowing and holding in your heart, like, that value of, like, yeah, how juicy, precious, And sacred, your offering is you are your energy and the transformation that that person is going to go through and how they're going to feel on the other side of it. And section 5, coherence is magnetic. When your energy, mission, message are in harmony, people feel it. Coherence makes you unforgettable. Sales is not extraction, it's initiation. Each sale is not a closing, it's an opening. Every time someone says yes to your offer, they are saying yes to a new identity, a new timeline, a new life. You are not closing a deal, you are actually opening a portal. And when you embody the transformation they are looking to achieve, sales becomes natural. And so that's why the embodiment piece is so huge, because we are on the journey of embodying, becoming the higher identity. And the person we're selling to is most likely embodying a past version of self, and they're trying to get to the current version of ourself. And this point is really important too. Even if the vision is still landing for you as coach, if you know where you are going in terms of your desired success, lifestyle, income, and relationship, and you are embodying your success story, even if your success story hasn't arrived fully yet, by you just embodying your success story, being in the energy of it, even if you don't physically see it, your dedication, your discipline, your devotion to your own higher self timeline will create a field of coherence that is magnetic and still in integrity. Because now we're playing with the quantum realm. We're playing with quantum possibility. We're bending time. We're calling forth that future version of ourselves into our current reality, the same way we're doing that for others. And so these are some reflection prompts that you can have for yourself as you move through these practices, you begin these conversations. Where in your business conversations can you bring more curiosity? Are you truly listening to your audience or waiting to be heard? How can you anchor your energy in non attachment while remaining devoted to the connection? And where are you overgiving without secret exchange? Alrighty, that is this for this part of the presentation. How's that feeling for you, Amy?
Um, it feels comforting in some ways because it plays on my natural gifts and the work I've done to be able to be present. So it's like, oh, I just lean into my presence as the medicine and then the rest kind of unfolds. And also my masculine polarity is like, oh my God. This is a new edge of it's like so much structure around an energy. I'm still not certain what the energy is. I'm still not confident in my I help statement. And
Mhm.
so it feels like an edge I can meet. Um, but it definitely is like supercharging my masculine energy that hasn't been worked out in this way. It's like a new muscle.
Yeah. And I love that because this is a great point in that, yeah, like right now you're learning something new, but you want to be integrating it into what the last modules were around branding, right? Now you can see the importance of why we did all of this audience auditing, why we want to know all these different things about that person, why we want to have kind of some branding and marketing materials already, or have some language around what it is that we're offering, the outcome, how we help people, because we want that to be locked in as because then when it comes to speaking to people, yeah, you can have the scripts in front of you, but it's, eventually it needs to feel like natural, and that's when it
Yeah.
won't feel performative, it'll feel more somatically coherent.
Yeah. And today I was just really um sent like feeling and hearing and receiving your information, your transmission through my gut really. It's like listening and letting myself absorb the blueprint that you're teaching, not as like bypassing the physical work, but like let it land in my body first and then slowly take the steps to integrate it into my expression
Yeah,
in a way
exactly.
that's in a way that's yeah, authentic.
Yeah, and hopefully seeing why it's so important to have that language, those specific assignments we were talking about, if they haven't been refined yet, like now that you know why it should motivate you to just maybe
Yeah.
focus in a little bit more on that. And honestly, like I said before, like I live and breathe Somatica. Like I'm constantly every day talking and thinking about Somatica and posting. I'm not, yes, it's like, okay, there's a goal of wanting to post every day or at least a few times a week. But beyond like the metrics, it's like, no, it's a practice. The more I post, the more all of that language and that I'm creating around my offer is settling in and becoming
Yeah.
just more of my nature.
Yeah, and that feels really good too for me. Like just, yeah, getting used to embodying this new archetype and taking that action and um yeah, integrating the new blueprint. So I definitely feel that. And this morning I had a win because for years I've known I needed to write more. I'm like, I need to be writing, I need to be writing. And then this morning I did write. I like worked with some of the questions that yesterday's class had and it felt really good. And I already feel a little more like embodied in that spiritual CEO archetype and I can see how writing, just writing in general, is going to help me clarify more of the wisdom and offerings that I have inside of me.
Mhm. Yeah, this is so crucial. It's so crucial too to really focus in on your authentic channel and have that be the foundation, like your unique style of speaking, writing, sharing. Because then when we do start playing with the AI, it's an interaction too,
Yeah.
and AI will change our language as well. So if we haven't fully grounded into our own authenticity, uh, one of the side shadows or side effects of AI is it could change how we speak, or it could take our method and our idea and transform it into something that it wasn't originally meant to be as well. And so,
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that.
I am definitely working with AI, but I'm like now even more than before going through line by line, just really tuning in if it's in alignment and resonance with my message or not, because I can see how it wants it tries to takes things in another direction, and it's like
Yeah.
no, no, no.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of the language it was using for my event page, I'm like, can you tone the language down? Like, these people don't know what a portal is, like that I'm taking them into a portal. I'm like, don't be so spiritual.
Mhm. Beautiful. All right, so just a little bit the opening. I'm gonna yeah, this is kind of review. I'll go into this section of sales as seduction. The sales as presence, like I shared, is like the more masculine side of the strategy, and then the seduction part is the more feminine, the playful side. This is the part where we bring in our essence and work with the energy of seduction, work with our own pleasure, our own arrows to invite people, to magnetize people into our temple, into our field, right? Our energy field, our offering is this energy field. And so selling in its purest feminine form is an art of energetic seduction. Seduction is not manipulation, it's the art of awakening desire. It's that dance between your embodied truth and the client's potential. When you're anchored in your somatic integrity, your energy naturally becomes seductive, not because you're trying to get something, but because you're fully being yourself. You become the living embodiment of your medicine. You radiate certainty, safety, and also turn on. And people who are meant to work with you will feel it. In the Somatica Wealth Blueprint, we practice sacred seduction, the energetic invitation that says, I'm not here to convince you, but I am here to reflect your power back to you so clearly that you can't help but rise into it. Sales in seduction and sales is the transmission of coherence. It's like when you're that confident, when you're already confident in your offering, in yourself, in your embodiment, you got the skills, the frameworks down, and then now you can play with these frameworks and make them your own and use them seductively. And it's the energetic match between your own alignment and their readiness to remember who they are. When sales is approached as seduction, it stops feeling like effort and it starts feeling like play. What's going on here? This, yeah. And so, some somatic cues of seductive sales for you to embody the art of feminine seduction in your business. Soften your body before connecting. Tension repels, softness magnetizes. Feel your words before you speak. Let them emerge from the belly, not just from the mind. So, this is where continually practicing presence, relaxing your nervous system. Like I said, it's going to be super natural to feel a little nervous at first. You're just learning how to ride the bicycle, learning how to drive the car. You're going to be a little bit on edge. It's going to get easier. It's and if you can approach it seductively, playfully, staying curious, literally genuine curiosity is one of the highest forms of attraction. So that's all you have to do, especially at the beginning. Let silence lead. Yeah, don't be scared of some kind of awkward silences. It shows that you're listening. It shows that you're not just trying to fill in with information or control the conversation. Let there be silences. If someone takes a while to respond to you, say for example in DMs, respond to them with a similar energy or time frame. This is where there's also like this kind of dating seduction kind of idea when it comes to sales too. It's like we all know, like if someone comes up too strong with us, we're like, what's going on? Or if someone's a little too aloof, unattached, we're also like, okay. So it's like meeting them, we're mirroring back to the person, their energy in a seductive and also guided way toward where you want to take them. Don't be desperate for the sale. You know your worth, you know your value. Match their energy. Like I said, if they take a while to respond, also wait to respond. Seduction isn't always what you say, it's what you transmit. And so selling by chat, the somatic way. Selling by chat is one of the most intimate modern expressions of this art. In the digital space, your words, tone, and pacing becomes the energetic body of your business. Every message carries a vibration. It can either feel like pressure or like permission. Inside the Somaticka Will Blueprint, we teach you to sell by chat through the embodiment, not the automation. That means you listen deeply to the person in front of you, you mirror the language back to them with compassion, and you attune your nervous system and guide the conversation gently toward safety, clarity. Asking them questions allows for their awareness to grow and it empowers them to make the decision for themselves. So we're gonna, with the sales, with the DMs, you're gonna open, establish a connection through curiosity, care, explore, feel into what they're desiring, what's currently in the way, reflect, mirror their power, show them the pathway forward, invite, extend a grounded, embodied invitation without urgency only. You don't chase, you don't convince, you invite. Okay, so we're gonna get into the Sacred Sales DM playbook. So this is what I use and kind of as a reference to begin conversations in the DMs. And this can also apply to Facebook. This could apply to, if you have people's contacts, text message, if people are in WhatsApp groups, Facebook groups with you. This is how we can begin these conversations. So, as I shared, ideally, the Somaticka method is to create content that then resonates with people and then they like, share, comment, etc. This is the best way to capture permission to reach out because this is automatically informing us that they're not a cold lead, but they're warm. So at that point, we can then reach back to them. Hi, love. I saw you resonated with my post. Thank you. How's life feeling for you lately? You could also say something like, oh, I appreciate your support. Tell me what called you to most from this post. Now, as you can see, this needs to be like fundamental. Every time you post something and now that you're using the method, the strategy to market and brand yourself correctly, is now when people resonate with your post, meaning they like it, they're following, they're liking it, they're commenting. And also if they're just like constantly following you and creeping on you, if you notice that, feel free to reach out to them and see what's going on. That opened up a whole new world for me to think that like, wow, all these people that have been liking my page, my post and my page for years, like I can actually just start a conversation with them and start to dig and see like, hey, what's going on? Are they in the client zone or in in the fan zone. And then we want to begin collecting data. So, for example, if they, yeah, this is an example here for someone that did like your post, did connect, did show resonance. But, think to yourself now, like, how would you approach someone that, hasn't? Maybe you're reaching out to them for the first time. Well, you can switch this. You can turn it around and say, "Oh my God, hi love, I saw your post today. I totally resonate with your message. Oh, I saw your post today. Wow, thank you for sharing on that. That's so important." And so when you're adding these new people that are fitting, qualifying under as potential clients, people in your network, you add them, maybe they add you back, maybe not. But if now they're in your feed, they're showing up, and even as you're following them, this would be even more proactive or better. It was like, as you follow this new person, take 2 minutes to go on their page, see what they're posting, see what's going on in their life, like a post, comment on it, like in the post itself. Or you could even write to them a private message like, "Oh my God, I saw your post. Wow," etc., etc., etc. Like, show genuine interest in these people. And then you can collect data once the conversation gets flowing. Some ways that you can ask is, "Oh, what are you really wanting more of in this season?" This is an example: pleasure, love, freedom, abundance, or something else. A more feminine way of collecting data. "Oh, if you could wave a magic wand, what would your life, business, relationship feel like in 6 months?" You're going to gauge your audience. What feels right? What do you feel the biggest thing in the way right now? How is that showing up for you day to day? Creating the gap is reflecting where they are versus where they want to be. "Oh, I hear you. You're craving, insert the goal, but right now you're feeling, insert their struggle." And you're communicating that gap exactly where I support clients. You could share, "Oh yeah, so and so Betty had that problem, and now she's XYZ with this current, reliving this current outcome in reality. um, it sounds like your heart knows what you're meant for, their desire, but your mind body is still caught in their block." That's the bridge we build together. And then invitation, that's exactly what I guide women through inside my program at Container. "What do you like me to share more about it? I can see how this matters to you. I actually want a space. I have a space designed for the exact transformation. Want me to show you how it works?" The idea of our conversations through the DM, unless they're like super hot and you feel that they're like super already in, then yeah, you can send them the offer to sign up and book even before a discovery call. But as a practice and as an invitation, if they're kind of just warm and you're kind of playing around with their energy, you don't feel them fully in, but they're kind of like straggling, they're kind of like stringing along with the messages. As soon as you capture permission around, you knowing what their struggle is or what their desired outcome is, then that's the invitation to guide them onto a discovery call. And the idea is to like paint the picture of like, well, you're not sure what the best product is for them or what the best option is for them, so you want to gather more information, and the discovery call will offer you this possibility because you don't want to just sell them something without knowing what the full story is. So that's like a way to guide them to booking a discovery call. And someone that shares with you their desires, their what they want, is warm. Someone that shares with you their desires and their struggles is hot. And so someone that shares their struggles but not their desires is actually hot too. What if they're starting to share their problems, their pain points? This is informing you that they're hot. They're going through something and they're closer to being desperate for a solution than someone that isn't sharing their problems. And so handling some objections, these are some examples. Time, money, fear. Totally get it. Most of clients thought they didn't have that at the time first, but once they stepped in, practices usually gave them more energy, clarity for everything else. If nothing changes, where do you imagine you'll be in 6 months from now? Is that okay with you? You create that opportunity cost of them not investing. Money, I hear you. Many women feel that way until they realize this work actually helps them expand their ability to receive more wealth and resources. It's really an investment in your future self. If money wasn't the issue, would you feel full yes to this? And then objection to fear, self-doubt. Oh, I understand. Stepping into this is scary. That's actually why this container exists, to give you the support and structure to move that fear into your power. What feels scary to you? Staying where you are or risking stepping into what you truly desire? Super potent questions for objections. And now this is a longer version of Sell by Chat verbal script book. This can also pertain to discovery calls as well, scripts. Like I said, the pitch we'll be focusing on next week, but these scripts, these scripts are here to give you ideas, not for you to memorize. The frameworks are there for you to memorize because the framework is the frame, right? This is what you're taking people through, and the framework is giving you the concept of what's happening. You get to make this to speak and practice this in your own language, but also there are people that just memorize scripts and use the script, and that's good enough too. Like some people are just not that communication savvy, and or it's easier for them to just follow the script. So these are here for you to study, to read up on, and to have them in your bank of information, and then use when it's correct. So some opening scripts. The way you tell this story is blah blah blah. Like I shared, maybe you're just reaching out to someone for the first time. You're actually opening, you're leading, right? When you open a conversation, you are automatically stepping into leadership because you're leading the frame of the conversation. You're leading someone. So also, I invite you to embody that leadership and recognize that opening a conversation isn't weird. It's not awkward. It's you being a leader. You're being in leadership. And so many people are out there that are shy, that have so much going on in their own life. They're not going to start a conversation with you, but you're here to be a business professional. You're here to make more money. And that involves also leading yourself into doing things that maybe feel a little uncomfortable or not the norm, like opening conversations with people that maybe you haven't before in the past. And so these are the ways that you would do that. Keep sharing your story. So much gold in this. Pointing out a comment or a post, like I said, this is what it's all about. People ought to talk about this more. Changing this to be your own language. Hey, person's name, saying someone's name, super valuable. Something I would have wished I would have learned when I was earlier, but when people hear their name, it like sends signals in their body of safety and of connection. So using people's names when it's appropriate, when it's possible, because you have it and you see it, super important. And say appreciate the follow, share, like I shared, that post reel video you made about topic, blah, 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 was valuable. I appreciate your presence. I've been super caught up sifting through messages all day and enjoying quality time with my partner. Like say you haven't answered someone in a long time, you can say something kind of creative. Oh, I've been so busy. Oh, have so many clients last week. This shows like also too that your energy is in demand, right? You're not like, oh, I have all the time in the world to be listening, to just be waiting for your response. You're playing with that art of seduction, that art of like supply and demand. Excited to find out what you're creating too. Curious what the big focus and creative vision for you at the moment is. I love this one. This one for me is one I use a lot because it gives me a good idea of like what the women I'm speaking to are working on. And people usually love to speak about themselves and their passions and the desires. So this is one that works really well with women. I found in my personal niche. What got you involved with their niche? You can say that. And like last, are you here on social media are you here on social media? Are you here on my page for the content, for the videos, or looking to grow your business? You could also insert looking to transform like your life, XYZ. And then the qualifying and relationship building piece, tell me about the business, or how long have you been working at this? What do you love most about this? This is more pertaining to business, but you could transform these for what you do. So an example is like, or an idea is that once you have it clear, you have clarity around your offer, and like you put it into this your AI, you could ask for it to transform the language of this blueprint, which you're going to get a copy of, um, in the language of your offering or your embodiment. You could also do that too. That's how I got the first part that I shared a little bit ago. Appreciation responses, appreciate that, got it, understood. Sounds like, sounds like you've been busy, that sucks. What I found is the struggle is real. Relatability, right? Answering them, helping them feel heard, seen. We're not going to ever argue with a potential customer. We're going to listen to them. We're going to, again, LEA, we're going to listen. Okay, we're going to empathize. We're going to see their point of view. We're going to agree with them. And then we're going to creatively, seductively, strategically implant our perspective or offer them our perspective. And we could even ask them, hey, can I offer you a different perspective? A-B method, stretching the gap between where they are, where they want to go. Oh, it makes sense. This is, where is the business and life at now? You get your point A. Where do you would like to be in 6 to 12 months? You get point B. What's the primary roadblock between point A and point B? And you share that, you respond back to them, right? This is why the deep listening is important. It's like when they're speaking, they're literally informing you of everything that you need to speak back to them. Oh, so I'm hearing this. This is what you want. Oh, this is where you want to be. This is what your struggles are. These are your roadblocks. By you mirroring back to them that, they're like, oh yeah, oh yeah. And this is one of these ways that we gently guide them into making the decision, making the sale themselves. What do you need most so that you're able to get, yeah, desired outcome? And closing scripts. What is it that you like or don't like about how you're approaching your goal? Where do you want to go in the next 30 to 90 days? What's the next big goal in 12 months? What kind of life would you like to create? What kind of lifestyle would that allow you? How will your family benefit from that? All of these are great to just kind of continue to feed the higher vision, continue to bring that person into that future timeline. Oops. What's missing to reach to whatever goal? What else? What have you tried? What's been stealing your focus? You don't want to ask all of these. You want to take maybe one or two from each of these sections. What exactly do you need most right now? And then leaning out. If someone is low intent, all good. Obviously, up to you how aggressive you want to be. For some people that are really cocky, being a little bit cocky can also be the medicine for them. But for people that are more like healing, more in their feminine, empathy goes a lot farther. So that's why we teach more of the empathy technique than the cockiness technique. We're not, this is also taken from like my coach, and who works with a lot of like high, ticket business people that might be a little more arrogant. Here when you're ready to level up, circle back when you want to move faster. Let me know if you get stuck or want to move faster. I like to say, like yesterday, it was a woman that I took through the conversation, and she was like, "Oh, it looks like you're in coaching, super sacred work." And I was like, "Yeah," but instead of being like, I was kind of like thrown off. I was like, "Well, what I do is a mix of things. It's not just coaching. It's also this. So if you ever need this in the future, or someone that is desiring this, like painting the picture of like selling retreats, working online, having more freedom, then reach out to me." That's how I did it. One more offer, call, the invitation. Got it. Love your passion. I'm clear on the paradigm. I think I may be able to help you with this. So yeah, once you kind of get an idea of what's going on with them, you want to invite them to a discovery call. Because yeah, like you want to paint this picture that by getting to know you, by being in your field, understanding more of their story, connecting with them, you're going to be able to place them and offer them the best option. Unless it's super clear that they're like, ready to buy, like sending them just the offer and the link is not as potent as having them on a conversation, a call, connecting with you already. Not to say that it's not possible, because it is possible, but there's a reason why people use discovery calls, and that is this method, the system. And so yeah, you want to, as soon as you capture permission to book a call, get their number, get their WhatsApp, their phone number, get their email, get them to book a call as soon as possible. Well, yeah, as soon as possible, and have them book a call, not the same day, because the same day you can do it, but it's you want to play with it. If they're like really really hot and you feel like you're ready to show up to the call, then yeah, take it the same day. But especially at the beginning, when you need to study a little bit more the frameworks and you're kind of figuring out how to do sales call, even having them book between 24 hours to 72 hours is ideal. Having them book after 3 or 4 days is actually also not good, because by 3 or 4 days they're probably not going to be as interested anymore. So there is some urgency in wanting them to get on a call as soon as possible. And if they don't answer you right away, you can also always follow up. Following up is, totally part of the game plan. Sometimes you say something, you're sending people messages, maybe they respond with the like, you follow up, maybe they haven't followed up, you can go back to the people you sent messages to and send a little another message. you know you could get to like 3 or 4 times. If they respond with a heart, a like, any type of message, this is permission to continue to take them down the script funnel, down the script frameworks. If they're completely, after 2 3 messages, zero contact, then you can release it and let it go. But the first 2 3 4 times, it's okay to follow up. And these are some examples. Get my note, ping, name, sorry, just their name in question marks, super potent. It gets them, it like creates this like pattern disrupt, and it definitely gets their attention. And sometimes people, like, I don't know, they're so busy that, they're not thinking about that. And just saying their name gets them to listen. And once you got their attention, this is the most valuable thing ever. This book that I just recommended that I recommended yesterday, and also put a picture in the WhatsApp group, like it talks about this, like literally as a salesperson, like the first 8 seconds are the most important. And you can apply this to marketing, to branding, to posting. You get eight seconds to capture someone's attention. Can you capture their attention and influence them to open up to you and the possibility of what you're going to offer them? Some different, yeah, sorry I got busy, sorry if I know. You can even just, if you want to just get like to the point, direct, if it's been a little bit like, you can also get, oh, okay, I'm looking for these types of people to do this, to get this outcome in this amount of time. Does it make sense for you to chat? Um, Again, the objection handling for money objections, totally get it. Finances aside, what do you think about the program? Like, do you think the program offers you everything that you need to get XYZ outcome? You want to get their commitment outside of the money, if money becomes the issue, the objection. And then same with time, totally get it. You want to make sure you have the time to implement. Some of our best clients see results as little as 2 hours a week. You ask them, do you think you could find 2 hours to get to your goal? These are different curative ways. If you don't sacrifice for what you want becomes the sacrifice. And this is like such a golden code that can pertain just to anything that we do in life, to ourselves, but also to our clients. If you don't sacrifice for what you want becomes the sacrifice. I think this is actually a quote from Kim Kardashian's book, which is, yeah, just a funny little note there. She's definitely a freaking wizard entrepreneur, even if her brand isn't that, essentially. And yeah, last, are you willing to sacrifice a bit of leisure to build your business so that you never have to work another job again? Someone's objection might be that they think they can do it on their own. Totally get that. Is that the only thing holding back? Is that what you'd advise your clients to do? Would you rather spend 3 to 6 months figuring out alone, or start today, sign clients in the first 30 days? Examples. You could transform that for your own offering. 12-month commitment, depending if it feels too long, you could respond with this. You could apply that to any type of length commitment. Totally understand. Is the 12-month commitment the only thing holding back? Tell you what, start with monthly, upgrade after we get quick wins. If not satisfied, cancel. That's a great way to make a sale. A little more risky on both ends, but hey, some people need that security. And you find out, if we did that, would it make it possible to get started today? At least you know that if that was a thing, if they had an option to do it monthly, that they're in, you know, and then you could always convince them, influence them to actually take the package after all. And then that next week objection, amazing, I love it. What's holding you back from getting started today? Example, 99% of the time when people say week, it means never. Do you think it's time to fully commit? And then Hail Mary, like last option, last just possibility. You'll never receive one more penny than you think you deserve. It's not about working more, it's about increasing your internal value. Is there a part of you that doesn't believe you deserve my coaching? Are you ready to make that investment in you? So that is the blueprint. This is one of many. Sales is a field, an industry that, wow, like you could go down the rabbit hole and study, and there are masters, wizards. That's why I'm recommending this book. I'm teaching it through the lens of my Somaticka embodiment method, but there are tons and tons of resources on sales. I personally started following like people that are sales trainers on Instagram, which I love, because now I go on my Instagram feed and I'm seeing people teaching about how to handle objections or how to take these calls. And so again, it's just becoming part of my life, and I'm embodying it, I'm seeing it. So if you're following coaches, it'll happen. I can also refer to you some funny salespeople. The thing is, don't get caught to buy the sale. Like, just following them, they're giving you lots of information. And what one of my coaches recommended was, like, before you purchase, you invest in like a higher ticket offering with someone, eat up all of their free content first. There's so much free content out there. Buy a book. If they have a book, purchase their book for $10, and that's probably what they're going to be teaching in their high touch containers. But if you have the motivation, the discipline, you can learn just as much from one of their books, because if you think about it, it takes a lot to write a book, to publish it. And so this is the best of what they're teaching. It's just you're not getting that access to them one-to-one. And then of course, when you're ready for that, you can invest into that, go ahead. But I'll share in the group some of these accounts that I've been following, and it's just cool to witness people in that practice of the sales, because it just, again, helps me remember, refine, and kind of memorize these frameworks, these responses, and it neutralizes my energy around approaching these calls that otherwise could feel, a little nerve-wracking. And then yeah, the author of this book also wrote the NEQP, Neuro Emotional Persuasion Handbook, something like this, questionnaire handbook, and I just added the PDF to that in the group as well, so that you can have that and work with through that. And so there's also just a huge registry of questions, so I recommend that. Yeah, you take a look at that as well, and you'll see there's similarities between all of these. And yeah, take the time to look over them, to play with them, to practice them, and to just make this language something that you integrate into your embodiment. And if it helps to have these printed out, which it probably will most likely at first, especially when you take people through calls, you can have this pulled up on your computer, you can have it printed out, and that way you know how to take people through the framework. Because even like my coach always says, like, I'm still studying my notes when I take people through my calls, because it can be really easy to get thrown off and like for our own nerves, for our own desires to get in the way of the conversation. So the framework is there for us to just kind of lean back, to be in that neutral state and take people through the process of the discovery of the transformation, and hopefully in the integration being them committing to the program and the method. All right, that is it for today. For the last 2 days, which was very heavy on the info. It's a little dense, but yeah, hope it helps. Trust yourself, trust that it will land, trust in that you opening yourself to just receive and digest it is the first, is you planting the seed for it to then start to become and feel more natural.
Yeah.
All right, my love, thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
beautiful rest of your day.
You too. Bye.